What we are going to talk about today is a very important part of our walking. It's actually our feet. So today we're going to discuss how to restructure or maintain the arch of the foot properly. So this will work for most problems that have to do with weak muscles or structural disintegrity in the arch of the foot. So it's a two-part exercise. One is an active part and the second part is rather passive. It's more about actually restructuring the bone structure within and showing the body, the rest of the body, what it's like to stand on a foundation that actually works properly. First exercise is rather simple, although there are some minor details that you have to be careful with. To begin with, and to show it to you a little better, let's draw one straight line on the ground where I want to walk. Now this will help you to organize your feet a lot better. First exercise, as I mentioned, is actually quite simple and it looks like that. If this is me facing to the front, I turn at a 45-degree angle towards this line I draw on the ground. One foot is placed with the heel exactly on that line, and the other foot I place with the ball of my foot on that line. So I have the ball of my left foot on the line and I have the heel of my right foot on the line, and both are at a 45-degree angle in relation to the straight line on the ground, but still the inside edges of my feet are parallel to each other. Now that's the basic foot positioning. What we're going to do next is we're going to take the inside edges of our feet, take a little bit wider stance, and we just lift the outside edges of our feet so that only the heel and the ball of the big toe, that they are touching the ground. Now the outside edges of my feet are actually off the ground now. One small detail here, make sure not to create this airing aspect of the outside edge by pulling your knees in. Rather, actually use the muscles down here in your ankle to actually roll your foot up. Why? Because in this slightly opened position, your legs are going out to the side in an angle. In order for the feet to be still on the ground, the feet have to actually lower themselves with the outside edges. Now, but if we keep this straight connection between the lower leg and the foot, like we would have in a normal stance, this would be my foot and this would be my lower leg. So it would come straight in. If we want to maintain this structure, but we open up the legs to the side, this means that the inside edge of my feet is touching the ground, but the outside edge is lifted. And that's exactly what we want to do here. Now, inside edges are touching the ground. The inside edges of my feet are still parallel to each other. And in relation to the line, I'm 45 degrees turned. From this position, I just simply step through with my right foot in front of my left foot, like so. Now I land in a crisscrossed position. In this position, the outside edges of my feet are on the ground and the inside edges are lifted now because I have the exact reverse position of my lower legs into my feet. So the relative position of my lower legs and my feet doesn't really change. The only thing that changes is the position of my whole leg. One time it's crisscrossed like so, and the other time it's opened. In the open position, the inside edges touch the ground. In the closed position, the outside edges touch the ground. Now I'm on the on the outside edges. Then I open up again and I'm on my inside edges again. Notice my knees are not bent in. I have still a straight line between my hips, my knees and my toes. And between those two polarities, my left foot and my right foot, I'm on both edges, on the inside edges of both feet. From here, I just gently start rocking my weight to the front and to the back. But not really in a way that I shift my weight and bend my legs. It's more like I try to push to the front from my rear leg. So my right leg tries to push to the front, but the front leg doesn't really give in. Because my front leg doesn't give in. It's more like a build-up of pressure in the front leg, and then I let go. And then I do the same in reverse. So I try to push to the rear from my front leg. So the power goes up the left leg into my pelvis and down into my right leg. And by doing so, still, my right leg does not give in. My right leg is steady as well. So what I do now is I rock between the front and the back. So I put pressure from rear to back, I put pressure from front to rear. And there is always a short relaxation aspect in between. So pressure, relax, pressure, relax, pressure, relax, pressure, relax, pressure, relax, pressure, relax. What comes from that is this, I try to move forth and back, but it doesn't really work. But that's exactly what I want in this exercise. The same goes for the crisscrossed version. I start up here again so that you still see me on the video. So same position. I start with this gentle rocking, putting pressure from one into the other leg. I cross. And now again, I sort of start pushing between the front and the rear leg. I try to rock between fore and back. And then once again, shift, rock, shift, rock, shift, rock, and so on. So that's the basic structure of this movement. After I completed one direction, I simply turn. Turn means I go back into my neutral position and turn a little further, so that now my left leg is in front of the line, my right leg is in the rear of the line. So my right leg is touching the line with the ball of the foot now, and my left leg is touching the line with the heel. So now the left foot actually crosses in front of the right and the right behind the left. That's exactly reverse than we did before. So we do this exercise with a couple of repetitions on either side. One very important thing here, you have to sink yourself down between your legs. Try to relax your pelvis as much as possible in order to actually sit in between your legs. It's like the feeling you get when sort of you sit on a chair, on a high chair close to a bar or something like that. So you have this very high chair with the edge of the chair just maybe 5 centimeters underneath your buttocks. And you have this relaxation aspect where both your feet just open up a little bit, just as if you were to sit down on the edge of this high chair. And that's exactly this sinking down motion that we want to have. That's relaxing the lower back, it's relaxing the hip joints, it's relaxing the leg muscles. And by doing so, obviously you need to work a little bit with your leg muscles, but there are two different ways. One, you hold yourself up with your leg muscles. Two, you find a body structure where you sink yourself in. Your leg muscles still have to work in order to prevent you from completely falling down, but they need a lot less tension because in this position, the structural basis of the leg, which is the bone inside, already carries a huge amount of your weight. And the muscles are only there to balance this weight. And that's a difference between using your bone structure and your muscles and your connective tissue and your sinews, or to just simply, and your ligaments, or to just simply use your muscles in order to hold yourself up. That's not how the human body works. Not really. So, the other important thing is try to also relax your whole upper area, like your belly, your chest, your shoulders. Don't go in this exercise with cramped up shoulders like this and trying to rock forth and back with your upper body. What you want is this. What you want is completely relaxed in your shoulders, completely relaxed in your chest area. Try to rather breathe in your belly than somewhere up in the chest. And you have this feeling as if you were literally sitting rather than standing. And from here, you go push forward, push back, switch, push forward, push back, switch, push forward, push back. One very important part, make sure that your lower back is lengthened so that your sacrum, which is this bony part back here exactly in the middle of your pelvic ring, make sure that the pelvis is actually the sacrum is actually sinking down, so your pelvis in the rear is sinking down. We don't want to do this action in a potty position with this extended lumbar lordosis. We want it with a relaxed and straightened and lengthened lower back area. That's the very important part for this exercise. What does it do? Most important explanation here. Obviously, we switch tension between the inside edge and the outside edge of our feet. Now, what this does is it actually triggers the muscles on the inside of the arch of the foot. So the longitudinal, as well as the side arch of your foot. Both of them, they're both worked on. Both muscle groups are triggered in order to restructure the foot. This is very important because in nowadays life, normally many people sit a lot or have very good, already expensive shoes. Some of the modern shoes, they have this nice curvature on the sole, on the inside of the sole already, where you don't have to work at all anymore, and the shoe kind of does part of the work in maintaining the arch of the foot. But this in return, over time, weakens the arch of the foot. Second part is when sitting, you don't put any pressure on your feet. There's only very little pressure on your feet, which again is not really a training impulse and not really I want to maintain a certain level of agility, a certain level of power in the arch of the foot. So that's why it gets weaker and weaker over time. And that's why it's very important to restructure the feet, to actually give them this gentle workout. It's more of a giving impulses to your feet rather than seeing it as a workout that you do 25 rounds with 70 repetitions or something like that. It's very important to do this exercise whenever it comes to mind, wherever you are at. No matter if you are in front of a vending machine, you just remember, oh yeah, okay, instead of just standing straight, I could actually stand like that and do this gentle wibble wobble between left and right. Or I could actually stand like that in a conversation and just do this gentle rocking. Another person who doesn't know what you're doing will never exactly know that you're doing it. So don't get caught up in thoughts like, oh man, maybe then I look weird or something like that. Not really. People only recognize what they know, and people only recognize what they know how to actually integrate in themselves. And then they don't know what you're doing with this unless they watch the same video or used a similar method. Now, this is one of the most important parts of how to restructure and strengthen the arch of the foot, both arches of the foot, the long and the sideways one. Again, it's a very simple exercise, and as I mentioned, don't overdo it. So maybe do, I don't know, if you have a longer way where you can walk back home, do it say 5 meters in one direction, 5 meters in the other direction. Maybe in a very intensive session, do it 2 times 1 and 2 times direction number 2. Something like that. Other than that, you want to actually trigger the body to take this new pattern, to take this new information of, hey, yeah, I definitely want you to work with the arch of the foot. To take this new information, and integrate it into your life. Whenever you want to integrate a new pattern into your life, it's very important to do that and to show the body this new pattern in an irregular manner. So not every morning at 7 o'clock. No, one day 7 o'clock in the morning, then 3 p.m. at the vending machine, then, I don't know, before you go to bed, when you take a shower. Next time you do it, next day while you're having lunch, or while you're waiting for your lunch, or while you're cooking your lunch actually. Something like that. And so on and so on. And with a little exercise, the arch of the foot will naturally restructure and re-strengthen itself. I'll do a separate short video just about the info why it is important to restructure the arch of the foot. Otherwise, this one will just simply get too long. So I'll show you in the second video why it's important to restructure the arch of the foot and what the benefits for the human physical body are. So there you have a close-up now of how we actually position our feet. We have our line here. I put the right heel on the line and I put the left ball of the foot on the line here. I place my legs a little bit further apart. Now I have these inside edges of my feet touching the ground. Then I have to change the outside edges of my feet around the ground. Now again this rocking aspect, and then again the stepping to the inside edges. When I turn it, the right foot is on the line with the ball of the foot, the left foot touches the line with the heel. I have this rocking aspect again. I switch. I have the outside edges on the line now. And again I switch. I have the inside edges on the line again. Especially in the crisscrossed version, it's not important how far you actually place your feet, your legs apart. In the open version, I do suggest to get a nice opening. Obviously, nothing close to a split, but do get a nice opening in your hip joints. This makes it a lot easier for you to get on the inside edges. The other version, the version where you actually use the outside edges, this crisscrossed version. In this version, at the beginning, it might sometimes be a little bit difficult to maintain your balance. Take your time, work slowly, and make sure to only take a very short step. So in the crisscrossed version, no need to go for a large step. Completely enough just to gently take a very small step. Due to the body mechanics, in the crisscrossed version, it's much easier to actually get on the outside edges of your legs than it is in the open version to get on the inside edges. Make sure to do this exercise once in a while. Check out part 2 of this video for how to actually passively restructure the arch of the foot and what that does to your body. Wish you a wonderful time. If you have any questions, make sure to comment. Other than that, see you in part 2.